previous video I have explained about how to create list, what are different ways of creating list. Now in this video we will be seeing list manipulation, the different operations that we can perform on list. So what are the different operations that we can perform on list that we are going to see? So some of the operations like adding an element to the list, then adding a list to a list, inserting element at position, deleting an element by value, by position, all these things we are going to see in this video. So here is the program I have written here. So in this program, it is a menu driven program where a menu will be displayed to the user. The first option would be adding an element to the list, and the second option would be adding a list to the list. Third option would be inserting an element at position. Position will be taken from the user and you will insert the element at that position in the list. And fourth option would be deleting an element by value, and fifth option would be deleting an element by position. Again here you have to take position from the user, and sixth option is displaying the list, and fifth is exiting the program. Now here is the list. I have got a list here whose value is 10, 20 and 30. Now I have the very first option is adding an element to the list. Now let us see. I just run the program and I show you how this program runs. See, different options have come here, and I am going to enter an element to the list. Suppose if I enter choice as 1 and the element to be appended is, suppose I enter 12. See, the element has got appended to the end of the list. Okay, now let us see what exactly is happening in the program. I just exit the program. See here, if the choice is 1, if user enters choice as 1, I am going to add an element to the list at the end of the list. Now here I am using the input function to take element from the user. Enter element to be appended in the input function. Now we know that input function will take the input in the form of string from the user. Okay, and if suppose even if user enters integer, even integer also will be considered as a string, but we don't want that. If user enters integer, it should consider integer. If user enters a string, it should consider it as string. If user enters floating point number, it should consider it as floating point number. Okay, if user enters list, then it should consider it as list. For that I have used the eval function over here, which I have already discussed in one of my videos. So what eval function will do is, it will convert the code into Python code. Okay, suppose if user enters integer, okay, it will consider it as integer. If user enters a string, it will consider it as string. If user enters list, it will consider it as list. Okay, so that is the function of eval here, and whatever element you store it in the variable ele, and that element I am appending to the list. So this is how you add an element to the list. Once again I run the program. See, I run the program once again over here. So I add the element again, choice 1, enter element to be appended. So now I am going to enter list. Suppose if I enter list as 34, 35, and then I am entering one string over here I just enter John. Okay, now this list, what will happen to the list? Will it get added as a list to the end of the list, original list, or individual elements will get added? So I have used append statement, append method. So what append will do is, this whole list will be added as a single element to the list. Okay, see what has happened here is, this whole list got appended to the original list as a single element, comma, as a single, as a list it got added in the case of append. So whatever you enter, that will be added at the end of the list as a single element in the case of append. Okay, now we will see the second option, adding a list to the list. Now in this case, what we are going to see is, whatever list you add, the individual elements of the list will be added to the end of the list as multiple elements, not as a single element, as multiple elements. Suppose if I give the choices 2, and then here I am going to add the list. Okay, I am just giving 32, same, okay, 35, 34, and then I give Ram. Okay, now what will happen is, these elements will be added to the end of the list as independent elements. Okay, not as a single list, as independent elements. Okay, see what has happened earlier. In the case of, in this option 1, the whole list got appended as a single element here. But in the second case, when the choice is 2, what I have done is, I have added every element as an independent element at the end of the list. Okay, so this is the choice 2. Now let's see what is exactly happening in choice 2. See here, in choice 2, what I have done is, I have taken the element from the user, I have taken a list, and I have used the eval function to consider it as list, and I have used extend a method over here, not the append. What extend will do is, each and every element it will consider as an element of the list. It will get added as multiple elements at the end of the list in the case of extend. But in the case of append, whatever you enter, it will be added as a single element. So extend, it's quite opposite. Whatever you enter, suppose if you enter a list, the elements of the list will get added as multiple elements in the case of list extend. So if you enter a tuple, then the elements of the tuple will be added at the end of the extend as multiple elements. Okay, so that is the use of extend. It will not add as a single element, it will add independent elements of the list or tuple or string at the end of the list. An element at position, you have to take position from the user. Okay, that is choice 3. Okay, so I run the program now. Okay, and I will give the choices 3, and then enter the position where you want to insert the element. Okay, suppose if I want to insert the element at position 2, and then I'm inserting the element as 55. See, at position 2, first position 10, second position 55, and the elements got shifted towards the right hand side. So this is how insert works. you have to take position from the user, and the user has to enter position between 1 and the length of the list. Okay, suppose if he enters 10, literally there are here 1 2 3 4 elements are there, so he can enter number between 1 and 4. Suppose if he enters number apart from 4, it will give you invalid position. Again, let's see, I give option 3 and then I enter the position you want to enter. Suppose I give position as 5. Then what will happen? It is giving you message as invalid position, because you can enter the element between 1 and then 4, not apart exceeding 4. If you want to insert at the end, you can go for option 1 to add the element at the end of the list. So if you want to insert in between, then you have to go for option 3. Now let us see how the program is written. Now for choice 3, here you are asking the user to enter the position where you want to insert element, and you are converting into integer and storing in variable posts, and then you are checking whether position lies between 0, greater than 0 and less than or equal to length of the list. It has to lie in between this two values, otherwise you have to display the message invalid position. Otherwise what will happen, if he enters invalid position, then insertion will not be, it will cause error. Okay, and then you're taking the element from the user and then you're passing into eval function to get the exact value of that input, and then you are inserting at position. Remember that if you enter position as 2, actually in the list it is the index would be 1, list of 1. Okay, if you enter the position as 4, it is actually the list of 3, the element at position 3, index 3. So that's why I have written here position minus 1, and then the element you have to insert. So insert at position the element. After that you are just printing the list. So this is how insert works. The element from the list. Already we have seen how to add an element at the end of the list, and then how to insert an element in the list. Now we are going to see how to delete element from the list. Now there are two ways to delete from the list. One is you can delete an element by value, and another one is you can delete an element by position. Now let us see how to delete an element by value. The fourth option is deleting an element by value. So let us run the program and see. Okay, I am just exiting and closing this. Okay, I'll run the program once again. So here let us display the elements. Let us see what are the elements first. See, the elements in the list are 10, 20 and 30. Now I'm going to delete. The choice would be 4. Now enter the element by value. So I'm entering the element as 20. So what will happen is 20 would get removed. Okay, after removing 20, the list is 10 and 30. So we have removed the element 20. Suppose if you enter the element which is not present, then it will give you message as enter element by value. Suppose if I give 35, what is the message you are getting? 35 does not exist in the list. So this is the message you are getting if the element is not present in the list. Now let us see how the program is written to execute this. Okay, see, so the choice 4 is deleting an element by value. Okay, so in choice 4, first thing is I am taking value from the user. input, and then I'm using the eval function to take the value as it is, and I'm checking whether the element is present in the list. If LE in number list, if you don't write this and if the element is not present in the list, you will get exception value error. Okay, so you have, in order to avoid that, you have to remove the element only if the element exists in the list. So for that you have to write if element in number list, and then if element is present, then you have to write number list dot remove, and you have to specify the value whatever you want to remove. Now after removing, you are displaying the message successfully removed, and then you are displaying the message number list. Now if the element is not present in the number list, you will display the message that element does not exist in the list. So this is the choice for how to delete an element from the list by value. Let us see how to delete an element from the list by position. Okay, so delete an element by position. So you will take position from the user, okay, and then you have to delete the element from that position. Let us see how the program runs. Okay, so let us just display what are the elements in the list. Option 6, yes, there are 3 elements, 10, 20 and 30. Now I am going to choose the option 5, choice 5, to delete element by position. Okay, so enter the position. Okay, if I want to delete second element 20, so I am going to enter the position as 2, second position. Okay, see, the element got deleted, 20 got deleted, and I have got only 2 elements from in the list, that is 10 and 30. 10 and 30 I have got. Okay, now if I want to delete again, so again I specify choice 5, and then enter the position from where you want to delete the element. I just enter 1. See, 10 got deleted and only 30 is left in. 10 got deleted and only 30 is left in the list. Okay, so this is how deleting an element by position works. Okay, now let us see how the program is written. So choice 5. Now you have to take the position from the user from where you want to delete, and that I'm storing in variable pos. Now you have to check if the position entered by user lies between 1, that is greater than 0 means 1, and the length of the list, it lesser than or equal to length of the list. Suppose if user want to delete from position 3, it is actually index wise, it is nothing but number list 2 of 2. Okay, the index is 2. You have to delete from the position by index is 2. Okay, that's why I have written here position -1, and you have to use the method pop. If you want to delete by position, you have to use the method pop, and you have to specify the index. I have specified the index as position -1 because if you want to delete element from position 3, it is actually by index, you are deleting element from the position 2. As we know, the indexing starts from 0. Okay, so number list dot pop position -1. Now in the previous one we have used the remove method to delete by value. Now here you have to use pop by if you want to delete by index. Now after deleting, you are displaying the message successfully deleted. If user enters a position which is not in the range, that is from 1 to the length of the list, then you have to display the message invalid position. So this is how you write the program for deleting an element from the list by position.